Good afternoon, Internet, but mostly Sam. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Great. How are you doing? You sound very well today. Know
Now, I will
that.
tell you, I have a new microphone arm, and it's a game changer. It's a game changer. Shout out to my bro Surfer from Chicago, who is an audio video expert and spends multiple thousands of dollars on all of his streaming rig, and it looks, I don't know, 20% better than mine. So let's go with 80-20. But he's into all that wheeling and dealing.
Yeah.
I told him to
You-
never tell Makita. Don't tell Makita what kind of camera you have. Do not tell him, because it'd be a big problem. That's all I got to say. Sam, you're looking great. You having a good day? How was your week?
Very good day. Very good week. Doing some training. It's fun.
You know, I myself had some Agile training. I actually took an Agile certification yesterday and passed it.
Nice. You
It's
didn't even need the class.
it's very, you know what? School of Hard Knocks, Sam.
Uh-huh.
It's an old pastime. I'll tell you about it sometime. But you can go to LinkedIn, and LinkedIn will vet you and tell you what you are qualified to do.
Uh-huh.
And I'll tell you, VR, nice to see you, Mr. Robert. And we got a story today. Today we are talking about securing your ingress with TLS, which we're going to cover a lot of topics. We're going to cover how to do that at large. We'll talk about how to automate that. Makita was kicking us some crazy crew links on how to use some kubectl plugins and like simplify all of these things. We're gonna do it the McCracken way, which is the down and dirty way of like, well, you could pick apart your cert like this, and here's what's going on underneath the hood, so that when you use those plugins, it actually means something to you, or at least you're not just like, well, this is cool, I know the plugin way. No, we actually know why that plugin is so nice. It's kind of like why we like canines. And I'm not using any of these plugins. I'm not going to talk about them until we get to them. We're going to talk about that, and we have a very interesting anecdote story from a new friend that we made this week, a potential client. I would say a client and a friend. And Sam's going to tell us a little bit about that. But yeah, TLS certs. It's kind of interesting. Sam, I don't know what your like historical thoughts are on certs, but I'll tell you, when I was just a developer and I didn't really maintain any of the platform, I would say, Buck Rogers, please make my service appear and make it secure. Give it SSL lock, please.
Yep.
I had an idea what these certs were. It's all good, but like never really had to mess with them. What was your take on all that back in the day, or even now?
Yeah, I mean, even now, it's one of those things where it's like, it's so easy to take for granted because it just works, right? And when it works, you don't think about it at all. But when it doesn't work, you notice real quick. And that's what happened.
Chrome tells people to not use your website when it doesn't work.
Yes.
Or Brave or whatever you're using. Microsoft Edge. See, hello, Capybara 8. I'm sure he uses. I know it's a he. I know him. I know they use Edge, like all professionals. Yeah, I feel like I always had some mystification around certificates and TLS, and like, what's going on? Yeah. And it wasn't until I started managing Kubernetes a little more deeply, where it's like, oh, well, I have to understand this. And then it's like, oh, it's still kind of complicated because there's a lot of bits and base 64ing going on and PEM file. There's a bunch of jargon to private key infrastructure, or PKI, as I learned, and just TLS certificates at large, or other certificates at large. And it's a handy thing to be comfortable with, as we'll talk about. So what else did I want to cover? We're going to talk about how to. We'll see. We'll get into it. I think what we'll show is some practical tips of the down and dirty way, kind of like demystify some of it, hopefully, and then maybe take a peek at some of these crew plugins. I don't have any installed, so maybe we'll install them and take a look around our own cluster and try not to expose our private key, which is keep me honest and have to be my co-pilot. And if we do that, we'll just go to this beautiful screen where people can look at your face while
Yep.
while I look at passwords and stuff. So yeah, I heard a little birdie told me you had a run-in with TLS certificates this week. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, sure thing. So we did. We had a cold call basically come to our email with from a nonprofit, and basically their site was down because their cert had expired. Now their domain is a GoDaddy domain. They went in GoDaddy and they click renew or whatever you got to do in there. I don't know. And it renewed the cert. Right? We're all good. Except website still wasn't serving over HTTPS. Website was hosted in a public cloud in Google Cloud Platform. And so they just reached out and said, hey, like, we don't know where to go. It's Kubernetes stuff. Can you help us? And so we jumped on a call and, started poking around. Had a pretty good idea of where we would need to go. And we fixed it. Somewhat manual way. I mean, it works now, and in a year when the cert expires, it will stop working unless, some actions are taken, but site's up and running.
It's a beautiful thing. Doesn't really matter how you get there. When production is down, I would say nobody cares. You leave out all the flavor, and it's kind of interesting. We should I'll fill it in. We should actually just like pitch it. I don't think they'd mind. I mean, they're a nonprofit taking donations.
Sure. Yep. From that perspective, they probably don't care.
They probably don't care.
Right.
But we'll stick with anonymity. I don't know. Actually, that probably doesn't matter. At any rate, what you left out is that current events, unless you live under a rock, there's a conflict in the Ukraine. I'll leave it at that. We're not going to get into it. Conflict in the Ukraine, and this nonprofit, they had some Ukrainians helping maintain their website, and those guys are not available at the moment. And as far as he knows, everybody's cool. Everybody's good to go. But you can't fix the site at the moment. Not very important. Not on their top of the list. And so that's why we got the call. On top of that, so that's the interesting flavor point number one. Brutal. On top of that, the nonprofit is their main job right now is literally getting donations to send to the Ukraine. So
it was kind of important to have their site up.
Well, man, it comes right full circle, doesn't it? You just hate to see it. And so, we got that email and it's like, well, let's fix it. Let's fix it real quick. And, we were poking around. We were not laying any judgment because we didn't know how they had it set up. We just know what we know. And we'll kind of poke into that and experiment in our own cluster and take a look at what we were basically doing, except in GKE. We don't have GKE going at the moment. Unless you spun up GKE. That might be future. And I think we want to do a whole series about the clouds and using managed Kubernetes in the clouds and pro con, what we like about it, what we don't. That always changes. That's always changing. They're always switching stuff up as everything evolves. So that'll always be relevant to do a deep dive, to do a dive into GKE, Azure, AKS, and whatever Amazon's is. EKS. I hate that Amazon's is E.
Yeah.
How did Azure get the A? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know. They went with Elastic, which they already have products that are Elastic. So honestly, it makes it a little bit more confusing, but
I don't know. I don't like it.
Whatever.
But Bezos can do what he wants.
Yeah, they didn't ask me.
They didn't ask me. That's for sure. So that's our little story, and that's why we're so inspired to talk about Ingress today. and TLS specifically. TLS and Kubernetes. Where do we want to go? Let's take a peek, and we could ask our production crew to maybe flip us over to the show on the screen. Beautiful.
We're good.
God, our production crew, top notch. You should see this guy's hair. I'm telling you. Just makes you smile. I don't know if this page is very useful. Well, it's somewhat useful. This is the Ingress page from Kubernetes IO. And I bring it up not because I'm going to read it. Ooh, excellent tuning. Excellent. But if you are going to do, if you're asking yourself what the fundamentals of some of these pieces of Kubernetes are, it's actually really useful to just go and make sure that you don't have some weird assumptions and that you kind of know what's going on.
Yep.
Another anecdote, but I was reading the docs last week about some things with Kubernetes services and how load balancing works with an internal Kubernetes service. And I was like, I had a wrong assumption. I had been rolling on a wrong assumption. I'm really glad I went and checked. So Kubernetes IO, the docs, pretty strong idea. Basically, with Ingress, we're talking about exposing an external client through HTTP to services inside your cluster, inside your Kubernetes cluster. And there are, as we've talked about in previous streams, there can be an Ingress managed load balancer or any sort of load balancer, something to route your HTTP packet, your HTTP request to your Kubernetes cluster where you have Ingress listening. And in our case, you can go back on the prior streams, we're not going to get into that. We have it exposed on, it's using traffic, and traffic comes in, we route it to the workers where traffic is ready and waiting to receive more HTTP to handle the Ingress controlling things. And then once it's in Kubernetes, just normal stuff. Hey, this Ingress rule for this host name and this path means you go to this pod or this service, which sends you to this pod. And boom, that pod's a web server, hopefully, and you get more web stuff back, or if it's an API or whatever. And what we're talking about is where, I wonder if they have a better image. What we're talking about is somewhere in this guy, there will be a certificate that is managed along the HTTP train. Now, we're not going to go into why that works. I am not expert level on how the HTTP stack is going to, tweak the PRAM of your browser and, magically do SSL magic. But I do know that from a broad stroke perspective, the client comes in, SSL is handled by the Ingress controller, by and large, if you configure it to do so, and we will configure it to do so. And that all the certificate stuff, it gets handled at that, when it makes that connection at the Ingress controller, whether it be traffic or Nginx or what have you. And, it'll go back to your pod and handle the application layer transaction, but the SSL has already been handled. The HTTPS piece been handled at your Ingress controller. So that is the very specific, because I don't know if that, there's probably a million ways to do this. But that is the way that we're going to talk about it today. I think that's a super common way. It's the way that I've done it a bunch of times. And so that's what you're going to get. That's the way we know. So, but I'm sure there are many other ways to do it. Simple ingress, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to go over this. This is pretty simple. You have an ingress rule. It's going to match on a host name. If it's there isn't a host name on this one. It's just going to say, anything coming in for test path is going to go to a service called test, and it's going to forward it on a port, yada, yada. I'm not going to get into that. We are looking for, I know the docs will have this. I have not looked ahead of time. Really? Oh, is this?
If you look on the right.
Sorry. This just seems obnoxiously not needed, but maybe it's super nice. Please. Probably this one.
TLS. Yep.
We'll just jump on ahead. Okay, here's a version of a TLS secret. We're going to take a peek at that. And here we go. So, bare bones basics. If you're just using Kubernetes and ingress objects, thank you, Sam. In addition to your rules spec, you have a TLS block. You specify the hosts that you expect this to match on. Well, it should match this. So anything that came into this, or anything routed to this ingress controller with HTTP headers for this host, serve up TLS from this secret. And that secret has a TLS.cert in its data and a TLS.key. I call this TLS cert. I don't know if you're supposed to say CRT or cert. Whatever. And there you go. The cert, so this part's really easy. I mean, I actually understand this part.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, and as a Kubernetes administrator, okay, well, I get that. But if you don't know anything about certificates, like I didn't for the longest time, or I was just mildly aware, I kind of wanted to get into, well, what's inside this guy? What's going on here?
Right. Because, I mean, basically what we did, we didn't have to look at it other than, we got the new cert from GoDaddy. We looked at it to make sure, hey, it is the new one. It's going to expire in a year, but it's valid right now. We looked at the old one just to see, hey, yep, this is what we thought. Yeah, Dan's pulling it up. So basically that's the content of the cert that we looked at that contains all those identifying information and the validity of when it begins and ends. And so we just swapped out the old one, put in the new one. Things were happy again.
Yep, this one's going to blow up April 18th. Somebody ought to tell Kelsey Hightower, who I assume runs Kubernetes IO. Interestingly, of course, this whole site is probably hosted on Kubernetes. Maybe. I assume it is. And they're using Let's Encrypt. And we may get into that. We will talk about how Let's Encrypt lets us do, etc. But yeah, I mean, there's lots of stuff going on here. We're not going to get into all this, but my goodness, there's a lot. These guys are pretty important. The DNS name section, the SANs. When you get into generating certs, the SAN is very, very, very important. It helps make your traffic. It's the best way to put that. The browser, because I mean the browser is kind of what's doing the things, right? The browser is going to say, hey, you requested Kubernetes IO or www Kubernetes IO. It came back, and the cert says that those hosts are okay, and they're valid. Okay. So let's fire up our situation. And oh boy, how's this going to work today? Is our load balancer still working? Easy game.
Good.
Easy game. And here's our old reliable.
Yeah.
That is definitely still not in Kubernetes parity. We have not done. We've got lots of little projects we can do. That's what the lab is for. Let's get kubectl get secrets.
Not our secrets.
Oh, my goodness. And I think therefore I am, we are using K3s in this cluster very specifically, and K3s comes pre-packaged with a ingress controller called Traffic. And Traffic's hosted in Kube System, so I could just kind of get us just in Kube System land. there aren't ingress. Here's the bummer. There aren't
Gotcha.
ingress for K3S traffic. And when we were looking at GKE the other day, traffic seemed to be what was installed. It was installed by Tiller. So it was installed by Helm 2 back in 2019. Traffic 1.5.6. I wanted to look into that today. Oh yeah. Why on earth is my Mac so awesome? How do I get that?
Sir, up in the top right by, oh, yours is not maybe the same version as mine. Try the far right menu maybe. If you're, can you?
I couldn't be more annoyed by my Mac
Yeah.
at this moment.
I
think it's impossible.
Yikes! I have the newest software, so the newest OS, so I can turn on Do Not Disturb. I think it just turns on automatically when I am in a video. So, yeah, there you go.
You've got to be kidding. What is the deal? I mean, at least from 4 to 5 p.m., please. I mean, really? Really, Mac? Get out of here. I could be more annoyed, but not much. In my Mac. Help me. We were talking about ingress. There aren't ingress.
There are no ingress.
There kind of are.
Right.
But traffic's not going to use these. So traffic uses something called ingress route. So I hate to show the Kubernetes docs and then tell you that I'm going to show you traffic right now, but the docs have the vanilla, okay? This is something a little more practical for your home lab or whatever.
Right. And so how, like, when we approach the problem to fix this, not knowing what ingress controller they have, the way my brain was thinking about it, at least, is, one, it's a managed Kubernetes instance, so like who knows what's happening. They could have everything as a load balancer and it's just coming in and maybe the cert's somewhere else. But what we did is we went to the services, so we searched for services and we looked for any that were of type load balancer, because that's obviously where traffic is coming in from some client's browser into our cluster. Luckily there's only one and it happened to be traffic, and so it was, so you can see right there, once we saw that, we knew, hey, it's traffic managed. Let's start digging in from there.
And I remember I was going to look up the current version of traffic.
That's a good idea.
I'm just going to put this over here as a reminder. Of course, we're on 2.6.1. Where's 1. Okay, let's go here. I just want to see. My 2018 time. So we were dealing with a quite old version.
Yep. Still works though.
I mean, it worked. Yeah. It worked fine. It is at this time that I wish to hide my screen, por favor. So as not to...
Production magic. Boom, I think we're good. All right.
And half the reason why I want to do that is I don't want to put private keys up here or whatever for the certificate. So there's a public certificate. We could talk about that. The certificate itself is public. It's the thing that you can pull up in your Chrome. It's the thing that's kind of shared. The reason that it works, it has to do with, watch this. This is the most McCracken answer. The key is really important and is actually the most important part, so that you can't craft more of those certs or impersonate the certificate that is already valid. What is the quick and dirty between ingress and ingress route? That's a great question. We're going to take a look at that because I haven't looked at ingress route in a minute. And I will come back to that. Good question.
Kind of looks like Makita already got it in the chat.
Did he already
But
get it? Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I've got us a old cert.
Okay.
And that's all we need. But I don't want. In fact, it's so old. I'm going to muck up the key, just because I'm. Well, actually, I think it's completely expired. So even if you had the key, it wouldn't matter, and we're not using it. Should I deal with that? Hang on one second.
Yeah. So while McCracken's looking at that, I'll just expand on the question from chat.
Yeah, I'm ready. Go ahead.
I think production is answering a little bit more, but yes. So the Ingress route is a custom resource definition, and that's basically a way that you can extend Kubernetes. So Traffic has extended Kubernetes by offering a Ingress route, and that's how you define your ingresses. Why it doesn't just use Ingress, I don't know. There must have been some extra stuff that they wanted to put in there, and so they created a custom object. But basically, it's the same thing as an Ingress. It allows you to say, hey, these hosts, these paths, whatever filters you want to make sure that when you go, api.devsoperative.com, it goes to, the API service. But when it's just devsoperative.com, it just goes to, our web server. Otherwise, it's basically the same.
Right. Right. Ingress route basically it may extend ingress, but they've implemented an ingress controller in Traffic, and so it will do those things. Yeah. Which is kind of interesting. I mean, super interesting. Why wouldn't it just use ingress? It must, be extending it, adding new features, or they're trying to make it more simple to us as users.
We haven't done anything too fancy, so I'm sure there's extra bits that you can use if you want.
Yeah.
But
okay. You may share my screen. So this is the public cert. This is fine. We're gonna do certificate exploration time, or secret exploration time, and it happens to be a TLS certificate inside of a secret with a key called TLS.cert. And we see our normal base 64 situation. I think we're going to try and do this multiple ways. So there are super fancy. There are ways of just using kubectl, normal stuff, and getting this data out of Kubernetes. Don't worry about that.
The key.
The key is here, but it should be fine. And who cares?
And who cares?
Who cares, except it didn't actually copy.
Oh no. Oh boy.
No, it's fine.
No pressure. The entire internet is watching.
You did this the other day. I'm trying to do it without a mouse.
Ooh, trackpad. Not a good way to select large amounts of text.
Difficulty rating?
Yes, yeah, right. I like that.
Please!
Let's go. There it is.
Easy. Okay, so we've got our situation. That's base 64. We can unbase 64 it. So we will echo that and pipe to base 64 -- decode. And we get all of our PEM format stuff. And I'm actually going to put it into, where am I? Hang on. Okay, now we're in a happy place. And we will say, I think this was an old DevSop pub cert. And so we'll use the thingy and put it in the thing. And then we've got
Highly technical, using the thingy, putting it in the thingy.
greater than the greater than sign or less than. I don't know, whatever. You use the this is a greater than? No, this is
greater
greater than. Boom. Use the greater than, funnel it all in. It's all good. And we've got lots of certificates in here in this PEM format, as I understand it to be. A lot of these, you might ask yourself, well, what's in here? I will show you the crappy way to figure out what's in here that I made Sam do the other day.
and then it worked.
So again, this is the if you're poking around and you don't know what you're doing mode. I'm trying to show my work on like the progression of how I went about learning this stuff, and then once you get to end game, it's like, well, you just do it the easy way. You just use crew or whatever. But it was really helpful to me when I was learning.
Right. I think that's a good point to make. Like, you're going to learn through this. And, like I mentioned, when SSL is working and certs are working, you're not going to think about it. You're not going to be doing this. You're not going to be using crew. It hopefully is all automated and you don't have to think about it.
Well, it will show some other command line tools that, there are way peak efficiency ways of doing these things. I have no ego. I don't care. I'm going to show you the stupid way. It's also my favorite way of doing it.
Oh, does it even give you the command line right above that? Right above paste certificate text?
I'm so stupid. Yeah, looks like it does.
Bam! Man, this site's good. This is good.
SSLshopper.com.
Uh-huh.
So I just Googled for a certificate decoder online. Probably shouldn't do this for anything to care about.
They've adjusted your cert. It's now in a database of searchable records.
It's a public certificate that everybody could get anyway. It's also expired and old. I don't care. So it kind of parses it apart for you. So, if you're doing really quick exploration or you don't have access to OpenSSL or other tools, well, you could do this. Can you grab and base 64 decode the thing? Cool. Well, you can come take a peek and see if it was a valid cert. See what cert it is. And yesterday we happened to be doing certificate exploration. We didn't know what's going on. We were, Sam was 10 minutes into looking at a Kubernetes cluster that he never saw before. And we were just poking around real quick. And this was the best we could do with the tools we were given at the time. And it's kind of nice. So you can see it's old, but it's got our SANs on it, or it's got some SANs. This is when we hosted the cluster here. You love to see whatever I clicked on. And it was Let's Encrypt. And it had serial. All good. So there you go. So that's a little demystification. And when I got to this point, I was like, oh, well, I can do a lot with that.
Yep.
The rest of this typically is the certificate chain. So this should be like an intermediate if it's going to go at all. If it's going to go at all. We're going to use the command line in a second. In fact,
it gives it to you right there. I want to see it.
I know. I do this just so Makita's like, oh, my Kraken, just do this. At some point, he's going to tuck in my ear and throw me off. See, he took down SSL Shopper just to piss me off. No, okay. God? Okay, so I mean, this is why I don't like this tool, because it's just like bleh, stupid. I know that there are better ways of doing it, but you can like hone in on it. But there you go. There's all the crap that's in there. You can see same stuff, validity, boom, let's encrypt, blah, blah, blah. Where's our SANs? Here's one of the CNs. Somewhere in here, it's got them again.
Right there.
Next question. So there's a little demystification. Now, where do I want to go from here? What's going on in the chat? Nothing. We're good. We've demystified a little bit of what's going on with these certs by base64 decoding and then using the SSL tool and a fancy website to kind of let you know what's going on in them. The next thing, where do you want to go from here? We could go a couple different ways. We could write the kubectl to get that action. Because obviously only plebs and plebes copy pasta out of K9's terminal.
True, but I mean, as you said, we were not in our home setup. It was.
Oh, yeah. But now we are. So
now we are. So yeah, I guess we can be fancier and install the crew plugins. You can use.
What was the question?
You can use K9. There was no question. I just had this random thought.
Oh.
You can use K9s to decode secrets, just generically. I assume with a cert, it would decode it, and then obviously you'd still have to go take that and find out all the certificate information. But why don't we take a look?
Right, there is a decode.
Yeah, it's great. It's right there. It's very cool.
So we're gonna snag namespace. This is what I needed. Let's build the one-liner.
Yeah.
There's the thing. Kubectl get secrets. The thing -n -o YAML will give us the output. Now, it's probably fine. It's going to give us all this output. What I want to do, and what I know exists, and I'm pretty sure is on my good friend Kubernetes IO, are the one-liners for snagging the individual keys out of the YAML data, which is what I want to do. I only want to get the cert. I don't want to be showing the key.
I would search for like JSON path or.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that what you're thinking? Or
along the lines of that, because I think you can use the YAML or you can use the JSON. Right.
Right. So with kubectl, you can ask it, hey, just return, secret data TLS cert, like just that bit, or you can always just pipe it to JQ and do your filtering there.
Let's take a look. Pretty sure they have this right here.
Go templates. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways to get what you need.
Is this what this is? Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh! It even pipes it to base64 decode.
You want to try this? This seems. I kind of recoil at this because it's like, God, it seems overly complicated. I just want to get the secret. Is this really the only one? This is output decoded secrets. He likes it. He's a fan. I've never used.
I've never tried it.
Go template.
Yeah.
I'm afraid.
It's a thing. I've heard of it. I've never done it.
I'm afraid.
It's probably not the way I would. It's definitely not the way I would have first thought to do it. But.
So wait a minute. What's this going to do? Output decoded secrets. Okay, so it's going to get. We're pulling. We're going to get the keys and the values out of .data. I don't want to show the private key. I'm not just going to run this, even though it's a kubectl cheat sheet.
Okay, well then.
Boom, boom, boom. I think I could do
dot data. There's got to be a, so if dot
something.
data is some sort of array or slice, can you try doing index of 0? Just add on, yeah, square bracket 0.
Maybe.
What's the worst that could happen?
I don't know. I'll show you half the thing. See? Private key. So this isn't what I want. This is close. I don't care about range key value. I just want to get the bit. So I probably don't even need this range BS because I'm not getting a list out of dot data. I just want dot data dot. I know the key. It's dot data dot.
TLS cert.
Yeah. Ooh.
I don't know how Go template works. Just, I mean, try it. See if it works. Otherwise, we'll try it a different way.
It's definitely not that. Right, because this is going to snag. This is getting the $K and $V, blah, 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 blah. I think we can. We got to get rid of the range. We got to get rid of the end because we don't care about the range. What is this mess here? What is this? Hash.
So it was going through each object in that data of the secret using the key and the value pair, and it's just printing three hash signs, the key name, and then pass the value, so the actual secret data, $V to base 64 decode, and I was going to print it out for you. It's going to be real pretty.
So actually, we just need that.
I think you just need that.
I get rid of all this mess. See, and this is why I appreciate the one-liners. I really do. But I'll tell you.
Executing output at base 64. Invalid value expected string.
I can probably.
It's the matrix. Raw data was.
So
data,
it didn't. Do I need to? There's probably a Go templating thing for snagging just the key.
Well, and that's why I was saying try the first index of that range. I don't know if it seems like a thing, maybe. So instead of data.tls cert, do data square bracket 0 square bracket. Just to appease me. All right, it doesn't work.
You're appeased. That's a good idea. Just don't know Go template syntax.
No clue.
And that's why I don't recommend it. I don't know why I'm trying to demonstrate it. And by don't recommend it, I'm not well versed in it. Thanks, Kubernetes IO.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the deal. This did work. I know there is a. Watch Google. Please.
My personal blog.
Please.
We're stealing somebody else's content.
Okay, see, well, I'm telling you, this is what I'm more stealing content.
Okay, yes. And like I said, there's a lot of ways you can do it. You can ask KubeCuddle, get me specifically the thing I want. Or you can say, give me the whole thing, pipe to JQ.
This is the JQ situation. This is what I want. And also, it's nice to know the syntax. So, I hate the syntax. I mean, I just don't use it often enough, so I just kind of hate it. And I have no good reason to hate it.
Fish.
Just hang on. Just hang on a second. So we're going to get the JSON. Right?
Yep.
We're going to get the JSON. So instead of YAML, we're getting JSON. Now, there is YQ. Do I have YQ installed? I do not. I better have JQ installed. We're good. We're good there. So bash brew install JQ probably. Shout out. So we're going to take the JSON output, pipe to JQ-R, grab data, and then grab the key, TLS cert, base64 DI. What's DI? DIW?
Yeah. I don't know what that last bit is. Did you add that?
No. What's this guy doing? It's wrong. -D.
I don't know,
Okay.
man.
Okay.
There it is.
So,
There it is.
thank God. And there you go. The people are the people pleased? Are you not entertained?
Well, now you got to pipe it to OpenSSL and figure out how to format that output.
You can do that. That's the thing about one-liners.
Yeah.
I love them. But they're not useful to me unless I understand it. And that's a me problem. Like, I don't know. I don't know what else to say.
Yep, yeah.
Ooh.
You know, I think we might have to check out the Crew View Cert plugin.
Certainly it's easier than this. Because with this, we'd have to pipe this to like an object or a thing, which I'm not prepared to do at this moment on the fly. And then have that be the thing read in. So
I know there's a way to take the standard out of the last pipe and make it the in of that pipe.
Yeah, it's like amp something.
Yeah, we're not.
And it'd probably have to go to bash instead of fish. And, you know, come on.
Whatever.
Come on, we're in fish. Let's pivot.
Pivot.
And let's take a quick breather. So that's what messing around with some certs looks like in Ingress.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to do another stream on this too, because, I mean, we've talked about, you know, just looking at it, you know, we kind of mentioned how we fixed the issue, but it's not automated. We didn't talk about, you know, some of the other bits that we like to use that would help out a lot. But we have like 10 minutes, so I don't think we're going to do that.
Yep, this is a deep dive on screwing with secrets and certs.
Yep.
And I think that's all we, and talk about securing your ingress. That's all we promised in this stream.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's just always more to talk about.
So Crew. Take me through it.
Crew, high level. It's a way of installing plugins for kubectl, right? So you can extend kubectl to do more stuff. And there's a lot of cool plugins out there. One of them will help you view certs, apparently.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. One we use is OIDC login. It's great.
So did I just upgrade all my stuff?
I think you might have. I don't know. Hopefully your situation still works.
Now it's more secure than ever.
Uh-huh.
Crew SIGs K8IO. Pretty solid. Somebody toss that in the chat. That'd be amazing. This is where you go to install it. We're not going to talk about that because it's right here. kubectl view cert. Where was their list? I'm jumping around. They have a bunch of plugins, quite many plugins, but down in the view section, super handy things. kubectl view cert, view certificate information stored in secrets. Huh. Something
Sounds
super useful that is can be clunky until you master it, or you just use Crew. kubectl Crew, install view cert. kubectl view cert is now available. You installed it.
Nice.
They're not audited for security. Why would you put them on here if I shouldn't do it? I love how this is just keep the lawyers happy.
Yeah. Does this plugin use Log4j?
kubectl view cert. How do I?
-- help. If it doesn't have a help menu, I'm out. I'm done.
Beautiful. Beautiful. kubectl view cert my secrets. My key.
Bravo, yeah.
Next question. You know, every now and then Makita has like a really good idea.
Every now and then. It's not too often.
Wow. Cue the wow. Well, there you go. See, the stream would have been way too easy if I just showed something useful.
But the question is, so I mean, we had to edit it on the fly. Can you kubectl edit cert?
God.
Probably.
Yes. That's the problem. You kind of
probably.
View secret, you could kind of guess what that's going to do. I believe there is one. I have it. This is view secret. This is secret data. Okay. Modify secret is what I'm hearing might be what we want.
It's a good guess. It might be that.
Boom. Modify a secret with implicit base64 translation. So normally kubectl edit secret really isn't a thing, but this guy kind of cheats and like.
Right. If you just do kubectl edit secret, you gotta base64 encode decode, right?
Yes.
But
and what we ended up doing was taking a backup of the secret, pulling down the YAML, editing the secret, deleting the secret from the running cluster, kubectl apply -f.
And interestingly enough, we had to also bounce the traffic pot.
That makes sense to me, though. That makes sense because a lot of those ingress controllers will load all the TLS at boot time or whatever.
Right. I found it interesting because it had been running for longer than I thought that this last cert had been valid. But it's working, so we stopped looking at it.
And, there may be a 15-minute wait or something, and we didn't want to wait. We wanted it to go. Kubectl. Don't ask. I'm honestly going to start using the H out of this. And I don't know why I've stayed away from crew. Sorry, I just have. I no longer. Okay, I'm a believer. Will this show the entire secret? Probably.
Just create a different secret then. We just want to show the plugin. We don't need to.
That's why I ask.
Yeah. Right, just create a new secret. Well, make some very secret.
Not those. Not those. Not those.
Not that.
Not that.
Definitely not that.
What can I...
Is there any LBC bot secrets?
Hang on.
LBC.
Hang on. Here's a giant one-liner that was in my fish cache here.
Nice.
What is it? What's the from literal?
From value? From literal. No, I think you might have been right. These are things that when you're studying for, CKD, CKA, your certified Kubernetes exams, it's good to know these. Otherwise, you're probably not going to use it that often. You should not be creating secrets manually anywhere other than just screwing around in your home lab. So we'll see if it works.
Invalid literal. Yeah.
Nice.
No, it's fine.
Right. Key, and then yeah. It's weird because there's like multiple equals. I'm pretty sure you can do this. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. All right.
Okay, so there's a data SAM base64 And then kubectl modify secret. Thank you, crew.
Pretty cool.
Key value.
Pretty cool. Can you add? Let's see if you can add one now too. Yeah. Same wise the wise.
Is that a double entendre? Capybara, tell me, double entendre. That's an English language problem. Makita, good.
Makita, good. Yes.
Secret edited. You absolutely love to see it.
Pretty cool.
So this turned into a big crew show, but because man,
it's pretty good. Crew, K9s, you got to use them. They're very
cool. So like you said, this is the down in the silly parts of learning what's going on in here and kind of messing around with certs and base 64 and TLS and a little bit about how you can crack those things open and take a walk around until you understand your environment even better than maybe you thought you did before.
Yeah.
Managing these things, that is definitely a future stream topic. And managing these is so easy with some of the automation, and you feel even more appreciative, or as appreciative as I am appreciative to crew once you understand how you might have to do it manually, or how they did in the dark ages before things like Cert Manager and Traffic and some of these. I think they use Acme protocol to do all the CSRs and cert signing things. Man, they make it super easy. They make it low friction to do the right thing. That's a future stream topic. And we'll be very appreciative talking about those things. Anything else you would like to add today, Sam? This has been fun at the end. I mean, gosh, it takes me back when I was doing this for the first time, a few years ago, and I was like, oh, God, I hate this. I hate having to learn this stuff.
Right.
It's very uncomfortable.
Right. Because I mean, I think like my first real experience with it, where like we were doing stuff, was probably 3-4 years ago at least now, when we were doing Kubernetes the hard way.
Yeah.
Like, at Makita's apartment. And
Lounge.
yeah, like creating the CSRs and then like asking for it to be accepted. There's a lot of cool stuff. I still don't, I still take it for granted when it works.
I know.
But
cool.
It's good to know some of the basics of, troubleshooting and looking around and where that is.
Yeah. But, well, I appreciate your company today, and appreciate our producer, and the makers of Crew is who sponsored this stream. And we also appreciate the opportunity to work on some random Kubernetes cluster to fix TLS the other day, and it kind of inspired us to talk about this today. And I hope everyone's having a great week and continues crushing it tomorrow and the next day, because that's all you can do.
For sure. And I know VR Linux dropped our Discord in the chat, so feel free to pop in there. We're there all the time. Love to chat. Love to get new ideas for the stream. Whatever you want to talk about. Cloud native, we'll be there.
New stream topics. Please, because you see, I mean, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel. I'm just kidding. We got a lot of stuff. I mean, there's just too much stuff. So we want to talk about what the people want to talk about, and we're just interested in a lot of the useful ways you can use Kubernetes to like do things like help. Like we were helping people with websites that are helping people. That felt good. These are the things that run the internet, and it's useful. So we want to keep showing that usefulness, and hopefully everybody learned something today. I kind of did. I'm exhausted by learning Crew, so it's great. I appreciate it a lot, Sam, and as always, I will talk to everybody else later.
See you guys.